So here we go. We're also going to start to give him some kind of gash up and through here. Below that there. Let the spirit gonna get a little tackier through the process. And I'm going to take the cotton ball and separate it so the individual threads are showing and able to like latch on there. You know, put little pieces on, kind of all over. And I'm working specifically up on the area where he has a bone, right, so that I can actually get in there and press on that. And then once that's dry, we can take that off. In the meantime, we'll talk about the process of how it's going to happen. So I'm going to take some spirit gum and roll it in a ball and then flatten it out so it starts to have some of this shape. And I'm going to put the most of it right on this bone because I'm going to be able to press on that. So we'll take the spirit, the nose install wax, and depending on how big it is and how much you want, you can use your tool to take it out and begin to get a pretty big lump of it. One of the things that I have, I think up on that thing up there, is tongue depressors. And you know, they're just wooden pieces, and you can use them a lot just as stirrers and things like that to mix. They're incredibly cheap. I bought a box of them, it was like $300. So I'm going to take this out, see if I need any more. I might need just a little more. But you know, the prep work that you do for this is making sure that you've seen a lot of cut, scars, and bruises, and how do they work, and what do they look like in terms of blending into the skin. Would you use Pax paint on this, or would you use cream? What do you think?
I forgot about the Pax
Cream.
Right.
Pax.
You test and see.
Test.
You know, you want to, okay, so I've got the ball here, okay? I'm going to look up here and see how big that is in comparison to that. Then I'm going to be able to flatten it out some.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
It's a big half part.
Right, so I'm just flattening that out and double checking to see if that's going to cover that space. And I just want to make sure that the top edge of it has a little bit more thickness over the bone. So we can see that here. Very good there. I'm going to move this up and make this a little thinner so you can kind of see I folded it up. When I folded that up, you can kind of see there that there's the folded edge. Now, you can decide to incorporate something like that in, or you can use your finger to kind of blend it away. So that's kind of like if you left it on there, it'd be like doing some sculpting with it on, without it being on the face. So it's just kind of a nice way to, if you do a fold and you leave that crease there, you know it's going to still be there up here. So I think that's pretty good. I'm going to take this, push that down a little bit. Could you do me a favor and get some KY for me?
Yeah.
I thought I had it out here. But I'm going to trim this hair down now. Just going to pull off the big ones. Okay. Even like when you were doing yours, I could see that there was a whole bunch of this still that was out and not covered. So you want to make sure that when you're applying something like this that it really gets trimmed down a lot, because ultimately it will ultimately.
No, if you wanted something really big, could you leave like a whole one there and just taper down the edges?
Ball, you mean?
Yeah, and just have like taper down the
Yeah.
edges with like smaller pieces, and then just You have to do several layers, I
Yeah, and it's again, it's about making sure that you are doing it all in proportion to the face and what's the goal, what's the design. So let's take this and begin to apply that this way. And a little bit of spirit down here. I'm going to push hard on that, so you have to fight me.
Fight.
You're asking, how swollen has he gotten? Is it really tough and difficult? Maybe he's like, there we go, there, and I'm going to take this and run that into his face there, so the edges get really soft. And blend down into here as well. Can you see, that?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So once you get this, I'm going to take some of this off down here, because I don't want it to go that far. Smooth that out there. Smooth this out here. So we've got something where it's definitely swollen and built up. Just going to kind of smooth everything out.
So potentially, could I use this instead of getting prosthetics for my cheeks?
You could.
Like, to make it just swollen more on the bottom?
Mm-hmm. And it's the thing is, it takes a long time to get it so that it's absolutely equal on either side of your face.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But I have a model, so.
Oh, okay.
So it should be easy.
But I would try it and see how it feels and how it works, because the other thing is that I kind of want you to do a prosthetic piece to have the experience in it, because I think it is really what people do now. Unless you're doing a nose or something like that, I rarely do nose and scar wax because the prosthetic piece just looks so much more real.
I think I was gonna do, like, would it look weird if I had like the prosthetic swollen eyes and then waxed cheeks? Would that be?
It just depends on what your design is,
The textures, like, it wouldn't be weird, like having both on the same face, right? Like you can use both on the same face.
I
if it
think
works
you
with the
could, but
design.
you have to be really good at the painting part of that.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Wow.
Great. So it's getting better in terms of like getting onto the skin and getting smoother at that joint. What's the thing that I can use to make it feel much more blended into the skin? Yeah, if I use the back of my finger like that, and I'll smooth that out like that, but where it actually is the point where it hits the skin and kind of has to disappear, what's something that you use in prosthetics that would work here as well?
Is that like that white stuff that you used?
Yes. Okay, the Bondo. Okay.
Oh, like the spackle.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's what we're going to do.
Spackle.
I take the spackle. Bondo. This isn't a Bondo for the next 10 years. Okay, here you go. It looks like a facial cream, so don't be fooled.
I just want to make a sandwich. What? I think it looks like fun. Oh, I want to listen to a sandwich now. Really? Here, Massachusetts.
My silver knife though, did you guys see it? I'm gonna put it down. Oh, here it is. The silver. Yes.
So that's achievement.
Right. So
Thank you.
I'm using a clean edge with my palette knife, and just gonna take this, and in the area where it meets, it'll just spread out like that. And depending on how much you want, and once that's there, into here, let's put that out. A little bit of alcohol. Just a little capful will do. And the alcohol is what takes it and makes it really smooth. And this is the other thing is that the Bondo will really stick it on the face so that it's not going to come off. And as you can see now, that's kind of a really nice smooth line in through here. A little bit more here. Top.
Would you have to use the PAX paint for this? Or like, to
Um,
cover the Bondo?
Well, that's what we're going to see. I think that it's best to use the pack paint when you have any prosthetic that is a foreign material. So it just depends on the person's complexion and all of that. But I think what's going to happen here is that this is all going to get a smooth finish. And so I have the Bondo and I have the scar wax. And I don't want it to be at a place where it starts to look different in different sections because I've got this and that going on at the same time. So my feeling about it is that PAX paint is just going to be better. And it's going to take it and pull it onto all three. And down through here. Just a little bit more in this area. And then take that, make sure that that goes to there. Let's smooth it up a little bit more in this area. And then you just kind of decide, is the shape doing what you want it to do?
And then so if you wanted it to hold its shape, then you would put latex on it.
You can do a layer of latex on this. I'm not going to do that because I use the Bondo. Right, but you can seal it and put it on the skin with, do a whole layer of spirit gum, let that dry. Do a whole layer of latex and let it dry. But because I use the Bondo around the edges and through here, I don't think it's necessary to do any more than that. I just want to get that a little smoother right there.
So that wax won't get manipulated when you paint it.
I'm going to have to just be careful with any derma wax you can move when you're painting it. So you just have to go with a gentle hand. If you're like really aggressive with it, it's going to start to be moving. So take a look and look at this way.
Ooh,
Okay.
nice.
So I've got this really swollen kind of open wound about to happen.
You try the other way as well? For
Yeah.
the camera?
This way?
Yeah. Whoa.
Really good. Yep, it's a pretty good bump. How many of you ever had an accident where you have a bump that happens?
Yeah.
It's, what happens is the body signals that it has been injured and it sends a lot of fluid to help that area heal. And sometimes if it's a bone, bone actually grows a bump.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it's
So like if you get like comped on the forehead, that's bone right there.
Yeah.
So it just like grows a little bit.
well, it gets swollen, you know, and that's kind of what happens when like when I did something when I was a dancer, and honestly the lump on my leg was like right above my ankle, and it was so big I just let it never go away. But that in that fluid, that's how the body heals itself. So, you know, it's like when you get a blister, same thing, right? It just pops up like that. So it's the skin, the water comes to heal, and then you get that front of the blister. All right, let's take this. Let me see if it's still tacky. Yeah, I'm gonna let that go. Maybe I'll use the hair dryer on that for a second. Just to speed things along. It's like watching paint dry. Let's see here. So, what do you have to be careful of if you're using this?
Burning the person.
It's wax. So you have to not melt it. So I'm trying to get this to dry, but I don't want this to get all melted.
Did you do like a cooler setting?
This doesn't have a cool setting, but I think as long as it's like from a distance, you'll be okay. You just don't want to move it, and you want to move it and keep it so that it is never in the same place for very long. You don't get them? So we'll go with some paint. In terms of the colors in the PAX paints, we're definitely, he's a pretty fair guy. So those are the dark ones, these are the fairs. And then you can just buy acrylic paint and mix your own. These are already mixed, so I'm going to look for something that's kind of pale. And here we go. It's not bad. Hold on. When I ordered these for the class, I got fair, middle, and dark. So they're usually okay. And this is the PAX paint thinner. You just put a few drops in. I don't usually use that. I just use the isopropyl alcohol. And that works really well. All right, so we have this. Let's see that one. I think that's pretty close. How many of you have come in and tried stuff and done anything here? Right? What was your response to the project you were working on? How did you feel about it as you finished it up?
I just totally forgot about the PAX paint, so that's the thing I next want to try. I was trying to do my face with like the cream, and it was not working the way I wanted it to, because it wasn't really easy to spread, and it was a little frustrating, but I got to explore. I realized that the cotton ball and the latex was not a thing that I wanted to do for my look, and then I also experimented with how to like the different kind of contouring I wanted to do in addition to making my face look puffy and just like pus and stuff like that.
So, I mean, that what you learned is what you don't want to do.
Yes, exactly.
So, can you?
So I made a list of things that I want to try next.
Okay. That was the magic word, because what you just said is what you need. You know what you need to do,
Yeah.
which is try different things and
Yes.
see what's going to be
I
successful.
want to try PAX paint for the thinner or the alcohol. Just want to try using that.
Do you see how the isopropyl
Yeah.
alcohol makes it so much thinner?
Yeah.
Right.
It just looks like it works like magic.
So you don't have to do something that you want to be able to try it and see how you feel about it, but you don't have to always go with the thinner.
Yeah. So anyone else want?
I did a lot of latex work, and
How'd your head work?
Oh, sorry.
I felt that really worked for like what I was going for.
What did you try?
Well, I did like the old age, so I did a lot of like stretching in the face.
Oh, good.
And I even kind of like in the book it said you needed about like 4 layers to get such a deep design.
Yep.
But I learned if you stretch enough, you only need like 2 layers and you still get that really deep. And then I went over it with darker color to get the whole shadow in there. And then what I'm trying to do now is work with the disease portion of it. So I'm going to compare the use of like just ripping the latex like I did when I was in here, as compared to how it says in the book for the zombie skin, doing it on a mirror and then applying it.
Yeah, I want to try to do that's what? You could apply some now and have it dry for later, if we want to. Do you know when you have time to come in? So I realized I cannot leave it. I can't leave it for this week or this week because I just have much time. So like, I need to do it like Friday afternoon or something. That's all.
So do you see how the PAX paint really blends in all those different textures?
Yeah.
And it's you'll understand that are things that it's worthwhile trying. It's worthwhile trying different things because you learn from that every single time you do something. Take this. I just want to clean this brush. Right. So because I dropped that, I'm just taking a minute to now take some fresh alcohol and clean it. And you don't want to put a dirty brush on the actor's face. Yeah. Right, back to this. And this is drying really nicely. It's got some really nice dimension to it. And as far as like going into the skin tone, that's working really well. Where there's some texture, I'm just making sure that I put enough PAX paint in to fill in that texture. Because the acrylic paint works as something that really is something that will cover it all.
We did the noses and stuff like with the cream and just working.
What?
It's great coverage. Like
Yeah.
I was struggling with that with the cream too.
I mean,
And like
really,
using a sponge to kind of stipple, I felt like that was another issue I was having. I just felt like it was taking the cream off the face.
yeah.
When I was trying to stipple other like colors over it. And so if you let this paint dry, can you then do like a wash of like a slightly different color over like different parts of the face?
Oh yeah, that's what you let it dry, but I would do a wash with the little dots.
The little what now?
The little dots where you use the brush to do like age spots and things.
Yeah, but say you wanted to like, I don't know, give a purpley tinge to like one part of the face because that part had been like really bruised or something and you wanted to have an underlying kind of like purple tone. Could you like create a wash that was like semi-transparent and do that over this, or would it not work?
I would try and see how it worked. I mean, it's certainly worth trying. What you don't want to do is make it look so separate. You know, so that's something that I would put on my list of techniques to try and see how it works in a rehearsal. So the other thing that I want you to realize, is a very appropriate way to work is with an airbrush. And you can airbrush all of this stuff. So there are people who really, do that for TV and film, and it's a very effective way to get a really smooth coverage.
That's really good.
Sorry. See his big old head and making it bigger. Okay. That out. That here a little bit more. And around the eyebrows. So, getting there pretty quickly. Just gonna make sure I've got a little bit more here. And I've kind of created a place where I can start now to do all the other stuff. Make sure the nose has on that. Yeah. Okay. And again, you want to blend all the way down, but I'm not going to do that to Quentin, just so that it doesn't take so long to get off. But I would blend this down into the neck, for sure. You can see it's really kind of evened it all out. So turn around so that everybody can see on both sides. So that's just a flat palette. There's no shaping yet at all. Alright. In this, you can really see that seam a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is take a little palette here, my palette knife. Make sure it's clean, and just kind of go back into that a little bit. That is a seam that will definitely show. Yeah. That's good. So once we have all that, we'll start to add the color and the gash itself. Are you ready? I'm going to take a little bit of this KY jelly so it doesn't stick as I'm running it through, and we'll do a gash that kind of comes right through here.
Oh, look.
And another one up through
So
here.
pleasing, he said. Yes.
But that KY jelly becomes really important, because if you don't have that in there to kind of make it easy to get in and out, then you're going to get stuck and it'll tear the actual tear. Alright. See that? Okay. So now we're ready to do the kind of painting that is going to be the other stuff. So here I'm going to use some of the cream bases, and with that, this is the Bruise wheel, right? And I think you all have this. Again, I'm not going to stick this, my fingers in here. So I'm going to take this and here it is. Put it on my palette, get some of the purple, and then get some of the yellow. Get the red. This is a way that people always spread germs, so you want to make sure that you're not doing that. There's also, there's usually a green in Bruise. Let me check and see if they have that.
I found a green in there last night.
In there? Did you grab it for me?
Yeah. And they also have like a blue and purple palette too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's really cool.
So, I'm going to start with paint there. Make sure this is closed. When you're using the PAX paint, just make sure, yeah, that's a good one, thank you. Make sure you close it, because it will dry out the whole thing if you don't. Alright, so the green on here, and this blue and purple is nice. Super. I'm going to use my finger to dabble out of this. Let's start with the purple up here.
What's your head mark?
So, go right up, go right up to the eye in there. That's why I left that kind of open before. With this, it's all about making sure that it doesn't get muddy, that you want to see the colors. So each time I do this, I'm just going to take a clean towel and make sure that my hands are don't have the color on them. I think that there. So I spread this around, go out to the red. Really just tapping in. And if you start to do this motion on the makeup, what happens is that it gets muddy. So leaving this there. I get into this area too.
What's your head?
You make me laugh, but Martin, it's about that. There we go. That's good. So this is where we can certainly begin with a black eye that's been pretty recently done. And I'm going to take one of these little blenders. Forget what I was opening the other day, but it was packaged so hard to get the thing out, I almost threw it out. It was crazy. There were so many layers to what it was doing. I was like, oh my god.
There you go.
There we go. So here, by doing this really dark purple in this area, this is where the blood is really like holding on.